Church family, isn't it a good morning to be alive in Jesus? Aren't you grateful? He's given us another day to live for Him and another day to serve Him. Well, here at Trinity, before we get into the sermon, for those of you that might be guests with us, and welcome once again, those of you may be watching online, we have what's called a Worldview segment. And let me explain why we do a Worldview segment. I believe today more than ever, Christians, followers of Jesus, need to be informed about what's happening in the world. Why? Well, if you're informed, you'll know how to pray. And then through that prayer, you're empowered to act. Those two things, I believe, are critical in these last days. Daniel 12:10 says, this is Daniel prophesying about the dispensation that we find ourselves living in the end times. Many shall be purified, made white, and refined, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand. We want to be amongst those living today that are in the category of the wise. We understand, we have discernment, we have perception, we have a prophetic calling to see, to know, and to call out, to expose the works of darkness. The church must be the counter-cultural voice against the confusion and the hysteria that are in the times in which we find ourselves living in. And really the church, all Christian churches, should speak a prophetic word of clarity with courage. So every week, before we open up the word, we confront the world. And I believe silence is not just being neutral. I believe silence is surrender. And the church cannot surrender to culture. We must put the trumpet to our mouth, as it says in the book of Joel, chapter 2. We must be watchmen on the wall, as it says in the book of Ezekiel. And then Paul, when he wrote to Timothy in his first letter, 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 15, he said that the church in every age is the pillar and ground for truth in a world of lies. So I want to talk about the bill that was passed just a couple weeks ago. They call it the Big Beautiful Bill. I call it the Big Beautiful Bet because it's very risky, but it's a good bet. It's a bet on the American worker. It's a bet on the economy. But let me ask you this question. Have you ever wanted something that cost more than you could afford? Raise your hand. Have you ever wanted something that could cost more than you afford? Okay. Whether it's clothes, a car beyond your budget, furniture, you should never go in debt for these things. Furniture, expensive wedding reception, the things that we can't afford but we feel we deserve, and so we put it on the credit card and we tell ourselves, well, we'll pay it later. That's just what America did on a much bigger scale. We just raised the debt ceiling by $2.4 to $2.8 trillion, which raises the debt ceiling to $4 to $5 trillion. That's astronomical figures right there. But we also know not all debt is inherently wrong or negative. When used strategically for essential investments, it can be both justified and it can be beneficial. So why did we as a nation just raise the debt ceiling? Well, in this bill, there are some really good things. For example, parents are going to be helped because the child tax credit is going to remain at $2,000 per kid. It was going to go down to $1,000. For those of you in the food services, no tax on tips. That's a good thing. And they have some accounts that, listen to me, church, you need to look into and you need to take advantage of them. They're called the MAGA accounts, money accounts for growth and advancement. If you have a child or a grandchild, I think 5 years or younger, you can put money into these investments that will grow, be tax-free. It's a powerful tool to really build wealth for the future generation. You have to look into it. You have to take advantage of it. It's now the law of the land. This bill is going to allow the average American to keep more in their paycheck. About $5,000 to $6,000 per year more will be in your pocket because the taxes are remaining lower. And it's going to help small businesses grow. There's some incentives for small businesses. But probably the most significant thing that would have only happened under this administration, within the bill, it halts federal medical reimbursement, Medicaid reimbursement to Planned Parenthood for 1 year. A 1 year hold on that. That's a good thing. It needs to be permanent. Our tax dollars should not be going to the abortion of children. Now, for these reasons and many others, if I were a senator or congressman, I would have voted for this bill. Not because it's perfect, listen, but because politics is the art of the possible. It's not the pursuit of the perfect. In politics, it's the arena where conviction and compromise constantly wrestle. And in life, all of life, we know we rarely get everything we want. You rarely get everything you want in marriage. You rarely get everything you want from your kids. You rarely get everything you want from your church, except this one. You rarely get everything you want from your job, from your country, from your friends. So it's just not realistic to think you're going to get everything that you want. And so really, moments like this, it's a fight for what you believe is best, what is best in that moment. That's what you strive for. So this bill isn't flawless, but it does favor families, it does protect producers, and it pushes back against systems that punish hard work. And sometimes in the real world of governing, a good step forward is wiser than standing still for the sake of ideological purity. This is just how the world works. This is how politics works. But we know nothing is for free. So how do you pay for it? Well, you either raise taxes, or you cut the budget, or you raise the debt limit, okay, which at the end of the day is not a good thing. Remember in Lord of the Rings when Gandalf the Wise, he goes to Bilbo Baggins' home, that little hobbit home at Bag End, and it's this peaceful, quaint, hobbit-sized habitation. And when Gandalf walks in, he's got to duck his head, and then he stands up and he hits a wooden beam. He doesn't get angry, he doesn't walk out. He realizes that the house wasn't made for someone like him. And friends, that's really a picture of our nation. We keep bumping our heads, not on wooden beams, but on financial ceilings. Instead of asking, should we stop spending? Should we live within our means? We just simply say, let us raise the debt ceiling again and again and again. So here's the problem. We raise the debt ceiling without raising the moral ceilings. We don't raise the discipline ceiling. We don't raise the character ceiling. And we build higher and higher debt, lower and lower in our dignity. And that is going to cost us in the future if we don't take care of it. So this is for the church. This is for you and me. Here's the biblical aspect to this. Here's the theological aspect to what I'm talking about in this Worldview segment. We lead the way. Christians, we're the light of the world, salt of the earth. We lead the way. Judgment begins at the house of God. So how do we raise our moral ceiling? 3 actions that we as Christians need to take, and hopefully the rest of our country will follow. Number 1, live without loopholes. Quit looking for shortcuts. There are no shortcuts in life. Quit rationalizing and justifying certain things that we invest or buy that we don't have the funds or God's not provided yet for us. So live without loopholes. Jesus said, let your yes be yes, your no, no. The Bible stresses, pay what you owe, save what you can, and model stewardship for your children. Be an example. Number 2, restore generational thinking. Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaves a debt for his children's children. No, I'm reading that wrong. A good man leaves what? I can't hear you. Thank you. So we want to think generationally. We want to build wealth, create wealth, so that we could leave it to our children's children, not debt. So we want to take advantage of the MAGA accounts, the 529 plans that are in this new bill that was passed. We want to teach our kids how to save, how to tithe, how to invest in kingdom purpose. And then finally, number 3, we want to return to the fear of the Lord. Read Proverbs 22:4 out loud with me. The reward for humility and the fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. America doesn't need more borrowing. It needs more brokenness before God.